Hi. So for this topic, we're going to discuss automation test using Selenium. And for this topic, we're going to use JavaScript since Selenium can actually be used with different languages. But we're going to use JavaScript. So what is automation anyway? So let's take a quick look on how human civilization has founded itself on innovations to make life easier. And therefore, since computations are part of our innovations, computations have been part of human history. So there are computers. Computers were invented to make computations easier. So then programs are made because there are repetitive computations, repetitive instructions. Then they are going to be executed by computers and so on. So all of these improvements will not make its way without actually testing them so that we would know if that is what we really need. So measuring is a process of estimating the expected. Then science is not complete without testing. Uh, since innovation is uh, somewhat a product of science, it is done because, well, improvement is expected. So that's why testing is a measurement of innovation. And then testing is a process and can be repetitive. But then we can also record it. So example of this is regression tests. So let's take a look at a CI/CD cycle. So as we can see, test is always done before release. So this is to ensure that the functionality done, the improvement in the system is what we actually need. So that's what we actually need to deploy. So let's go to test automation framework. So testing is a process, and the test automation framework is the improvement for the testing process. So how does it improve the process? Is it does it by guiding test script creation so that tests can be recorded for repetitive execution. So like what I've said, there are tests that are done repetitively, executed repetitively, and an example of this is regression testing. So these are the examples of test automation frameworks. So, oops. So Selenium framework is actually popular for web application testing. And then there's robot framework. Actually, this has been existing, I think, since before Selenium. Then we have UFT, which is a part of HP products, although I'm not sure what happened to this now. And then there's RFT, a product of IBM. We have Nightwatch.js. It's just pretty new. We have Cucumber, and we also have Gherkin, framework, a test framework for Python, and then etc. So why Selenium? Aside from because this is our going to be our topic. So Selenium is a framework for web testing, and it can be used with popular programming languages such as Java, Python, C Sharp, Ruby, JavaScript, and Kotlin. So it also supports testing different web browsers. So I have actually used Selenium framework for testing in Chrome, testing in Mozilla Firefox, and IE. It also supports testing in different OSs. So what this means is you can run your test scripts use under Selenium framework in Windows and it can also be done in Linux, and it can also be done in Mac OS. Although I haven't tried it with Mac OS yet. It Then it can be used to run tests in headless mode. So what this means is that we can run our tests in the terminal, or rather in the console, and then the browser will not pop up. So when you run a test, uh what happens it is the WebDriver will uh pop up a browser for you. So but in headless mode it won't do it. And then it can also be integrated with other frameworks like TestNG. So it's a report generation framework, and it's open source. So it has been curated by a large community, and of course, etc. So these are the setup requirements that for Selenium. So since we're going to use JavaScript, we will need Node.js and npm. And then we will be needing WebDriver for the specific browser that we're going to test in. So there's a different WebDriver for Chrome, a different WebDriver for Firefox, for IE, and for other web browsers. So we will also need Selenium WebDriver API. So there's a different API for the different languages. And then we're going to need an IDE. So IDE is actually where we edit our code. You can also use Notepad if you want. So how does Selenium works? Um, when we have a test script. So for example, when we run a test script using the Selenium framework, so what happens is the test script calls the methods from Selenium API. So for example, I have a test script that has a step that clicks a button. So what happens is I will have to use the method from Selenium API for click button, or for click, and then this method, Selenium API is the one who will communicate to the WebDriver that there is a step for click button. And then the WebDriver sends the command to the browser so that the click button will execute. So that's it for the introduction. Thank you for listening. So for our next topic, it would be about environment setup for Selenium. Yeah, thanks for listening.